Okie dokie. Hello, everyone. So that sounded sultry, ain't it? Hello, everyone. Heads up. This is going to be a video speculating and talking about potential future stuff. So if you don't want to know what's going to come or even the idea of what's going to come in the World of Warcraft storyline, this will not be the video for you. And as you can tell, I'm doing it a little bit on the top of my head, so hopefully I can make some sense, right? We've received a key art from Gamescom, and we now know that they're going to reveal the Midnight expansion at Gamescom, and they're going to show off like a trailer and whatnot. Join us for 5 days of non-stop community celebration, live esports and more as we kick off things with Opening Night Live and unveil Midnight for the first time in a live stream directed from Cologne, Germany. We're also broadcasting the special Midnight expansion overview stream with the developers, who will take you deeper into the next chapter in the World Soul Saga. Gather your watch party together to bear witness to the unveiling of a truly monumental opening cinematic for World of Warcraft Midnight at Opening Live on August 19th. You won't want to miss a single moment of the first salvo to WoW's next chapter. It's bound to make an impact. Immediately following Open Night Live, join WoW executive producer Holly Longdale, senior game director Ian Hazzakostas, and Warcraft Universe creative director Chris Metzen as they join forces for an exciting deep dive into the zones, mechanics, new features, and story of the upcoming expansion during a special Midnight expansion reveal broadcast that will go live on the World of Warcraft official YouTube and Twitch channels. Check back here on the official site for more details in the upcoming weeks. So we're going to get our cutscene on August 19th, and we know with the current raid schedule for Ghost of Karesh that on the week of August the 12th, we're going to see raiding Normal, Heroic, Mythic, and Raid Find a Wing 1. So that means that the story of Ghost of Karesh, that the ending of the big patch, right, leading into the next expansion, is going to be revealed. Unfortunately, not for those that are not raiding. Story mode will release on the week of August 19th. I am still hoping that at some point story mode is just going to release on week 1, but who am I? At the same time, I'm still going to be raiding normal. I'll also be keeping an eye on the channels and all that. And of course, I will be covering the story on the YouTube channel as well. In case you're no longer playing, but you do want to keep up with the storyline, I got you, right? We're going to be diving all the little bits. But then the question becomes like, okay, where's the story going to go next? What are we going to do? And for that, we take a look at the key art that they have released. And as we can see, our boy Dimensius has multiplied. But in other words, there are more Void Lords out there. There are Void creatures on the key arts. What is happening here is anyone's guess. But if we look in the background, we can see almost like a spike behind the major one in the front, right? Like two spiky towers thing. And that's been quickly linked to the towers of Silvermoon. In the lower right corner, we can also see a bit more of the design. And something that we've been speculating about since the very beginning as this saga started, as this storyline started, was the question about Yria and the Sunwell. In the Nightborn recruitment scenario, we saw that Yria returned to Silvermoon after so many years away, after she became the prodigy student of the Locust Walker, after she became attuned to the Void. And as she approached the Sunwell, by accident, her powers unleashed and the Void tried to come in. The question arose, what would happen if Yria showed up to the Sunwell and tried to bring it in on purpose, right? Could she bring in the Void en masse? And of course, the question becomes, why would you do such a thing? Well, Yria so far has very much been an agent of the Void, and she's been able to hold on to her sanity by relying on her anchors. Locust Walker keeps telling her, like, you need to let go, and you know, how can you walk in the darkness with such a bright light next to you? To which Yria is like, listen, Locust Walker, I love you, right? I appreciate what you're trying to teach me. But these are the reasons why I'm not full on falling into madness as my visions have shown me. It's an Arator, a Trellian, Anduin, Locust Walker, all the people that she surrounds herself with. They have been giving her the strength in order to rise up against Xal'atath, punch her, shoot the Dark Heart. They've been her force of power. And this is something, once again, confirmed in the Locust Walker short story. There was a recent short story about the Locust Walker in which we find out that he had a love, but he also was very much isolated. And it suggests that his isolation is what allowed a Xal'atath, what allowed the Void, to actually devour Karesh. Now, big spoilers for the upcoming patch, but as I mentioned, you are here because you are open to spoilers. But in the upcoming campaign, we are once again going to see Yria be isolated. Her anchors so far have been able to give her strength, but in the upcoming patch, the question becomes, who can you trust? Locust Walker has been keeping secrets from her. Secrets that she's like, how could you, right? And then a Xal'atath, who, even though the spoilery trailers might give you the impression is now our ally, Yria is also like, no, I can't trust Xal'atath. We're not redoing Shadowlands on purpose, almost it seems. We are doing the complete opposite. We are doing what they should have done back in the day, which is like, no, I'm not going to trust you. It's just that the situation as it is, right? Either we get devoured by Dementius or we work together. That is the situation that we're in. And after that, once the day is won, it's anyone's guess where it's going to go. Well, this key art suggests that it's not going to go that well for Azeroth. The darkness is not entirely gone, as also been announced by Chris Metzen during the first reveal of the World Soul Saga.
In this chapter, you will be returning, ready, to the old world. To the fabled lands of Quel'Thalas. There, the forces of the Void have invaded Azeroth, intent on snuffing out the light of the Sunwell and plunging the world into darkness and fear. You will not only help reunify the scattered elven tribes of Azeroth, but you will make your stand with the forces of the light and banish the shadow forever.
And we are going to have to deal with this. Now, at the same time, we also got to wonder, like, how does that relate to Illyria's story that's coming up? Christy Golden has been recruited in order to write a story. It is called Blood Ties, and it is going to release on November 18th, 2025. And it's going to involve Yria, Trevelyan, and Arator. Arator with badass cover art. And in the description it says, now, on the other side of recent events in Kazhogar, Arator embarks on a new journey, investigating rumors of a strange glow emanating from the ruins of a long-abandoned Legion base. Trevelyan and Yria volunteer to assist, eager to eliminate their ancient enemy before it can threaten the world anew. As the family delves further into the mystery, Arator works to reconcile his parents' heroic legacy with the flawed people he has come to know. He sees both sides of his parents in himself. His father's high standards, his mother's intellect, their unwavering commitment to the defense of Azeroth. But Arator exists at the conflux of their greatest strengths and weaknesses. Weaknesses that are revealed as the demonic threat proves to be a former lieutenant of the Burning Legion, intent on using Azeroth to launch a new campaign of destruction. Anyone's guess how that story is going to go down. But we can say, like, okay, Yria, she is going to survive the confrontation with Dementius, right? Then the question becomes, what is going to happen next? And I have a lot of people ask me, Noble, why are the visions from Battle for Azeroth coming back into the game? Why did they bring the visions back? Like, does that have a lore reason? And for all I know, it's simply because they want to keep content evergreen, which is great on its own, right? Like, I wouldn't mind them bringing back Island Expeditions or Torghast. You know, give me rewards, achievements, loot transmog mounts, all the good stuff. I don't particularly mind them reusing assets that they've done before. It would have been great to actually see updated maps, though. It would have been great to see visions take it to the next level. But if we are looking at it in a lore lens, if we are trying to find an explanation for it, one of the reasons might be to reacquaint people with what happened in those visions, to remind those, or perhaps for some of you experience it for the first time, that in the Stormwind scenario, we see that Trevelyan dies, Yria kidnaps Arator, and she has fallen into the void. One of her anchors has fallen away, and that is how she has given herself to this. Oh, and let's also not forget about the vision that Arator had about his father all the way back in the Burning Crusade. I was only an infant when my father was deployed to this wasteland. All that I've ever known of him is what others have told me. Do your dreams change? Mine do not. I have one dream. A crimson skyline envelops me as legion numbering beyond comprehension battle in the distance. I kneel before the body of a man, presumably my father, and weep as he is gasping for air, his body wholly crushed. He whispers something. Despite every effort, I am unable to hear what he is trying to tell me. All of that combined, a potential is that Illyria learns about Locust Walker's betrayals, his secrets, his darkness, and she's like, I can't trust you, right? Then she comes home to a marriage with Trevelyan, which already has been a little bit strained, ups and downs. They're trying to keep it together, but there's constantly the void and the light. Then there's the part about they're going on this mission. What if their flaws, right? They come to the surface, and it leads to the death of a Trevelyan. Could this be the catalyst to push Illyria full on into the darkness, right? Imagine, like, the Void whispering to her, or Xal'atath whispering to her, like, ooh, we could save Trevelyan, and she doesn't give in, and then it leads to his death. What if those anchors fall away, and she falls into the void even further? Now at this point, no longer going to Sunwell by accident and releasing the voids, but doing it on purpose. Imagine that Dimensions gets sucked into the Dark Heart. Illyria gets her hands on the Dark Heart, like safekeeping. You are our Void Master. You get to keep the Dark Heart. And she brings it to the Sunwell in order to open up this gateway. It would be a complete, well, not a 101, but it would be very much reminiscent of the days that they used the Dragon Soul in order to bring Sargeras into Azeroth. And the Dragon Soul... the Dark Heart was the prototype of the Dragon Soul, right? So imagine that they would use the Dark Heart in order to bring the Void into Azeroth. And so begins Midnight. One could argue that when Dimensius slowly devoured Karesh, it was constantly put into Midnight, and so the same might happen to Azeroth. Of course, not to our little houses that we need to stay in, not to our player housing, but I would love, and I've said this since the beginning of the World Soul Saga, I would love for this to be the expansion in which we lose. I don't think there's ever been a greater time in Warcraft lore for us to lose, because we know we're going to have the 3 story arcs, we're going to have the 3 expansion arcs. Let Midnight be the one where we are at our absolute lowest, where despite our best efforts, we've lost against Dementias or Illyria or whatever, and now we have to climb back out again. Whatever campaign plays out, now we have to climb back out again. We have to unite the Elven tribes, deal with the darkness, maybe like a little bit of troll in there, Zulaman with the Loa, talking about that the other day on Discord. I would love for Midnight to be the expansion of, okay, you're at your lowest lows, you're not going to be climbing out of this one instantly. Good luck, heroes. Fight your way back out of this. And then, with the Last Titan, where more's been revealed about the world's soul inside, and like the plan of the Titans and all that, at that point, as we crawled ourselves out of the muck of the void and be like, what that Domain of Order has told us all these years, it might not be the entire storyline, then we can have the whole return of the Titans and see where the story's going to go from there. But yeah, long story short of, I've kind of been rambling on here. What a beautiful, beautiful key art. It says so much. with enough shade in there, with enough, menacing. I'm genuinely wondering, like, the armor pieces and like the glow in their chests. I'm genuinely wondering how this is going to play out. But like I said, Gamescom with the Midnight reveal, we're going to learn so much. And obviously, I'm going to be covering every little bit. Hopefully provide a little bit more extra background information as we go through it. And bring it all to life. So yeah, by all means, let me know what you're thinking, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time. See ya!